Hey everyone, I'm Marty T. Hawkins with Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I'm really excited about all the opportunities I'm already seeing in 2020. Our industry is what I would call rocking it. A few weeks ago, we learned about all the square footage being built and the different technologies that are being introduced to us. I think efficiencies is going to be the word of the year. You know, along with all that growth, we're seeing jobs or positions being created for us, and that's a great thing. There's so many young men and women getting started in our fields. We're seeing people leaving the retail, food service, and construction arenas, and that's what WAOC is all about. Last week, I produced a webinar on how finding work is hard work, where we talked about utilizing the job boards, our resumes, and the many social media job groups to ace our phone and that face-to-face interview. And I thought with so many of us changing careers and industries or starting to think about and plan out our careers, we'd talk about that for a minute today. Like I said, you know, looking for work is hard work, but we can relieve a lot of that stress and anxiety if we go about it the right way. So today, let's discuss what recruiters are expecting from us as applicants and what they're looking for, and I guess more importantly, what they do not want to see or experience from us. One of the first things every recruiter always brings up is that the applicant should know what he or she is wanting to do or what can they commit to doing. We've talked about how important it is for us to do our research or a little background work on any companies that we would like to work for. Things like our commute. Are we willing to commit to the drive and traffic? And what's the opportunity for growth? Maybe what's the opportunity to learn to operate any machinery or equipment? Really anything that's going to earn us a little more money. Another thing that's always brought up by our hiring agents is that an applicant should just be honest when sharing their experience levels with us. In our line of work, this can be a very important one. If we say we can operate an electric rider jack or a fusion production machine, we'll need to be able to do it. They're going to put us on one, and just stating I'm a fast learner, it just isn't going to cut it. I think the main concern a recruiter or hiring agent has with us as applicants is, can we commit to doing this job? Okay, so how do we get out there and find a job? How do we find employment? Like I said, looking for work is hard work, and it really is. In today's market, it's a lot easier to find who's hiring, what the job duties are, exactly what hours and skills that they're looking for in an employee, and a lot of times they'll even list any benefits and things like that that go along with the job. Okay, my starting point is always with the job boards. We all have probably checked out the ads on them before. And when we're looking for a job, it's so tempting to just find something, anything, and accept it. But you know what? If we don't like it, we're just going to quit or stop showing up. Let's plan a little bit and save ourselves a lot of time and frustration and start off on the right track. Okay, so first we need to think about what we want to do and what are our experiences. How far are we willing to drive to and from work? What hours or shifts can we commit to? Once we're armed with those answers, we can start identifying target companies and start applying, getting those applications out there. And in my opinion, it's fine to apply to all of them. Oh, we can have our favorites or a wish list, but apply everywhere we can commit to working. It's just a numbers game. We have experience and someone is going to be needing our skills, I assure you. And what about our resume or work histories? I kind of skipped over this part, but I want to say a few things about it real quick. From what our recruiters have shared with us, our resume is important, but it needs to be informational above all. If we're seeking a professional position, yes, of course, we need to pay someone to help us out with it. But if we're seeking our first job or a non-skilled position, even something in the retail, food, or light industrial fields, it's more important we openly share our experiences, wishes, and willingness with the hiring agent. There's plenty of resume writers on Facebook for $20 or $30. They'll help us put something together. But in my opinion, we can get the same thing from a Microsoft Office template or even a public library. Every library will have templates for us, and we can construct our own resume with them. We'll need our name, contact number, and email up at the top. I suggest not listing our physical address, but we do need to put our city and state on there. Next, we'll need to write a brief summary of our experiences. And don't exaggerate here, but do list all of your accomplishments. If we were a hostess and, at a restaurant and came up with a more efficient way of tracking tables to the wait staff, write that down. Be proud of any ideals that you've had that might have helped our employer. This is where we should list any goals we may have or our interest in a new field. Keep it brief, but list a few things, and in a way that our interviewer will have to ask us questions about. Next, we need to list our education. Again, just be honest here. And this is where we'll list any achievements, certificates, and awards that we've earned. If you're proud of it, list it here. Again, it'll be something we can talk about with our recruiters. And then the most important section is our work history. List all of our experiences here. Remember, we're going to have to explain why we only work, say, 6 months somewhere and account for any gaps in our employment. We need to have those answers already scripted in our heads. It's important to be honest again. If we left because we just couldn't get along with a boss, share it with them when it comes up. But share our side of the story with them too. If we just didn't want to work for a few months, tell them that and share why. If we had to help out a family member, share as much as you're comfortable with. Share, talk, and communicate with the hiring agent. Now, I do agree that our resume is important, but from what I've learned from the recruiting world, the information is really the critical part, not necessarily the format of it. If you get hung up on a resume, give us a holler at host@warehouseingoperationsAsAcareer.com and I'll help you put something together or put you in contact with someone that can help you out. It's really important that we have one, but don't stress over it. Your experiences and personality are the key components, not how it actually looks. Next on our list are all the social media job groups. These are a great resource for us in today's markets. I know one group of recruiters that get between 30 and 70% of their responses from social media, depending on the position and the skill sets needed to perform the task, of course. Instagram and Twitter, I see advertisements or postings from most of the larger corporations utilizing these platforms. Of course, we're directed to their own websites to learn more about the positions and to fill out the apps. And then there's Facebook. In my view, for most light industrial and general labor positions, this is where it's all happening. I like all the colors and the brightness of the Facebook ads we're seeing today. Usually, we'll be linked to or directed to a company's website from their own ads. Replying to a feed posting with an interested or asking for more information or replying with DM or PM me is not going to get us anywhere. Any real job is going to post the name of the company, a telephone number, and either a physical address or a link to fill out to an application. And we need to follow the directions given in the posting. If it says call, then we need to call. If it gives us a time window to come and apply, then walk in and fill out an application. And it's a win-win if we are given a link to the application and can apply from the house. But let's be sure to follow up with a phone call. We want them to know that we're interested and serious, right? Some other great avenues are job fairs and our families and friends. They all know people. They're like our own little mini network. Okay, now that we've got our names, skills, and wants out there, we're going to be shopped by employers, and we'll need to be ready. Our first contact with a targeted employer will probably be the phone interview. This is our 10 minutes to sell ourselves. The hiring agent is going to be cold calling us. We need to be prepared for that call. I always encourage applicants to have a copy of their resume with them. Make notes on it. have our rebuttals ready for those anticipated questions regarding why we left a position, or list the reasons why we may have a gap in our employment. Jot down a couple of questions for the recruiter, too. And these can be simple. They can be something like, what do you think of the company? Or can you tell me a little about the growth opportunities this position can bring to the table? Really just anything. Remember, we want to make an impression with our recruiter. He or she is going to talk to several other people. We want them to feel a bond with us and remember us. You know, recruiters are asking questions all day, every day. You'd be surprised how much they'll enjoy sharing something different with us, and they'll remember us. If we show them interest in a position, they'll pick up on that enthusiasm, and it'll pay off for us. When we do get that call, say we're driving or maybe watching the kids at the time, it is perfectly all right and actually appreciated by our hiring agent to share that with them. Ask if we could call them back in a little bit. Let them know that you'd like to be in a quiet place where you can focus on the interview. It's perfectly fine to set a time to call them back. Just be sure we call them back at that time. We don't want them to skip over us, right? Now we've got about 10 minutes. Know what our resume says. Explain all of our goals and our experiences. Be as at ease as we can and project the interest that we have in the position. Let them know we'd love to come in to meet with them and that we feel we're the perfect candidate for the job. If we do all that, we'll get that face-to-face interview. Now I'm going to go out on a limb here. I urge my people to call back in 2 or 3 days if we haven't heard back from our interviewer. It can't hurt. Call them back and let them know we're still available and interested in the position. Who knows? Somebody maybe didn't show up or they moved on to filling another position. I'd call them back. Worst case is it can't hurt us. Now I'm certain we're going to ace the phone call, so we're going to be invited in for an actual face-to-face interview. This is our shot, ladies and gentlemen. We should be at least 10 minutes early to our scheduled interview. It's important that we dress to the position. If we're in a professional setting, dress in business attire. Business casual is fine for an office setting, and a nice pair of jeans and a polo shirt will be fine for a light industrial position. Oh, and it's really important not to bring our children to an interview. We're not going to be able to bring them into the job site, and in a way, this is really our first day of work. And I think everyone knows we're probably going to be nervous. Just tell our recruiter that. They do this for a living. They know that we're nervous. Again, be honest, answer their questions openly. Remember, this is where we can share our side of things and our thoughts. And ask questions. We want them to notice us and remember us. Another important thing is that we bring our identification with us and any forms that we may need. We could be offered the position right there on the spot. We've worked really hard to get here. We need to project ourselves as the best candidate they're going to see and let them know that we are committed to this job and ready to make that commitment to them. Well, there's a few tips from the pros and an opinion or two from me. If we put in the work, and yes, it is work, even in today's job markets, we'll land the job that we're seeking. You have the skills, the experience, and the ambition. You'll rock your new career choice. Until next week, good luck on your choices, and please remember, warehousing and transportation can be dangerous. Please always put safety first.